Hello and welcome to my trio guide in Dark and Darker. As the wipe is coming up, I wanted to talk about the different comps you'll play with and verse in trios. This is going to be my recommendation as to which teammate characters to play with and the pros and cons of that comp. I hope this helps level up your gaming experience in the PvP front of Dark and Darker. Please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this type of video. Kicking things off with Fighter. The teammates I'd recommend are Wizard and Cleric. This comp is very balanced and is very popular as it is both fairly straightforward on how to play and has also proven itself to be one of the stronger comps in the past and at this current moment. The pros of the comp is that it is strong at pushing other teams with its utility from the Wizard, keeping the fighter at a high move speed even without using sprint. It is also very versatile in that the Wizard or fighter can be the carry in a fight depending on the enemy's composition and positioning. The comp also has good sustain with Cleric and it also allows the Cleric to sit and gain spells back as the door holding potential on the comp is very high. Another strong point of the comp is that it works in all the maps so far without a glaring weakness. But the comp is not almighty. You need to be careful of third parties like always, but in this comp it is required for you to campfire and reset as the Cleric and Wizard need spells back and the fighter might also need second wind. This shows the other problem where if your team is caught in a bad position, it can be hard to recover as your team is quite slow without proper setup. The comp also, if put into a melee position, will lose to a Barbarian with a Warlock, as they will shed through the fighter without much trouble. Don't forget at the low end, fighter struggles against magic resistance. Thus, it can drop like a fly to lightning strikes or Warlock hiding. Another problem is that you need to have constant awareness, as the Wizard and Cleric are very vulnerable to a rogue's ambush. Another thing to keep in mind is that in this comp, you cannot greed for kills, which could lead to unexpected variables later into the match. These unexpected variables could be a team you killed later reappearing in hell to counter you during bossing or the last struggler of a team coming to third party you after another fight. These are things to keep in mind when leaving someone alive who now wants revenge. Moving on to Barbarian, I would recommend Bard and Cleric. This comp, known in OCE as the Chinese Buff Bowl, can show itself to be the strongest team. If the team gets ahead in the early wipe, it becomes an unstoppable force as the whole team is tanky, thus allowing for multiple mistakes without punishment. The team is very strong in Crypts and Inferno as they tend to be more close quarters with less space to kite. Speaking of which, this team can be hard kited, making it extremely hard to play confident in Ruins, which can be easily overcome by patience in waiting for the red to open. This comp is also amazing if you were to be third partied, as once you get behind a door, it is a death sentence to anyone who walks through. This requires an enemy to flank to punish, which leads to the importance of positioning. Positions where you can be flanked are given, so you'll need a plan to get through these situations. The main way is by walking together as a group towards another door. It matters little if you get cornered, because if they hard push into you, they will be the ones suffering. The most important character in this team is the Cleric. Without the Cleric, you will be kited without remorse and have no way to recover unless they make a mistake. Reminder, avoid PvP until Crypts. Everyone's favorite class, Rogue. With Rogue, I would recommend Bard and Wizard. This comp possesses the highest burst damage with an explosive engage. Using Explosion on the door with Haste and Invis on the Rogue and Bard, the comp rides off momentum, so do not forget to be aggressive. If this is played well, it is unlosable. The team also gains information really well, as Rogue can scout ahead with not much trouble due to Hide, Wizard Invis, and Light Orb. This team can also be very greedy and can chase kills as it rides off momentum and putting the enemy on the back foot. Keeping in mind, this team is very high skilled and you will have trouble if people aren't experienced on the class. Rogue acts as the scouts and flanker of the team, with the explosive engage when needed, while the Bard is the bodyguard of the Wizard, ensuring their survival. Be careful of poke comps, as you do not have a healer on the team, and even if you are ahead in early wipe, the comp fails to snowball, as well as the other classes, because they tend to be on the squishier side, making mistakes fatal. With the comp being high skilled, it also requires immense game sense, as information is vital for the team, with knowing the enemy comp straight away and possibly knowing if anyone is nearby, though the reset time on the comp is quite good, making third-party situations not the worst. If you're struggling in the comp, it is genuinely a skill problem. Like say it isn't even like fucking the fireball or whatever, like they hits you with the ice bolt, right, in the legs, and it doesn't do much damage to you. The other thing you gotta keep in mind is that if me or Kippy have any pressure on us, because then there's a good chance you're not gonna get the heal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like say if I'm like, you know, even like probably 10-20% down, Kippy's gonna notice, and then he'll probably look towards me to get a sank down or something. If we're both low, like he just goes for the sanks.
I'm always going to prioritize the wizard over you as well.
Reddit's favorite, Ranger. What a surprise! A Ranger's favorite comp is another Ranger, adding a wizard for extra utility. The reason for wizard over another support class is that wizard can keep up with the Ranger's mobility while also not exposing them to the enemy. This comp is without a doubt the king of poking and consistent damage. They oppress pushes. Just imagine trying to push 2 Rangers and a wizard. Dreadful. The game plan of this comp is to clear the starting modules and keep clearing towards a module you were wanting to hold, such as Bridge on Ruins, where the Rangers have a wide open area to shoot enemies, with the cleared modules being the escape plan. This comp is also good against third party, as all 3 players can separate without trouble due to the Ranger's backstep and high interaction speed for doors, and Wizards fireballing doors and invising mobs onto their pursuers. Be careful though, walking into a new module might invite an ambush, which will be deadly to someone, making the rest of the fight 2v3. Crypts is also a fairly bad map for the team, as a lot of the fights will end up at a doorway where all 3 players want to peek, making the game plan for the comp to wipe the lobby before Crypts. Keep in mind, if you have consistent teammates, traps are an extremely good tool where it won't become a liability as your team already know where you place them. If you struggle, it may be because it is still early wipe, and this comp does require some amount of gear to be able to push through a Cleric's heals and a Frontline's PDR. Still struggling with gear? Try Aim Labs. Ah, Wizard. My love. This class has been my main since before early access. The class is best played with a Bard and Cleric in this current meta. This comp is a jack of all trades. It has decent range, good burst, high damage, good PvE, amazing sustain with Cleric and Bard playing Corel. Played well, it defeats PDR comps and has the versatility of Wizard or Bard being the main dealer. The game plan for this comp is for the Bard to play Bodyguard for the Cleric and Wiz, waiting for the Wizard to find a good opening to send the Bard in and exploding the team. This comp struggles chasing kills, as leaving the Cleric alone is never a good idea. The comp does struggle with resets, as without assistance from Cleric or Wizard, Bard cannot hold doorways as they need time to set up to fight a fighter or Barbarian. The comp's MVP is the Wizard, as it becomes much harder to win if the Wizard dies. In turn though, Wizard plus Bard or Wizard plus Cleric can 2v3 easily. The team can also be ambushed, but with the Bard playing the Bodyguard role until sent, it makes a Rogue's job much harder. Info is the king in all comps. Knowing who you're versing is important. This allows the Wizard to make the shot call of when to send the Bard, thus losing the Bodyguard in the process. Done incorrectly and you will be punished. With Cleric, it's back to Wizard and Bard. Cleric is honestly wanted in every comp, with it being the strongest addition to any team with its heal and resurrection spells. To not repeat the Wizard debrief, we'll focus on this being a frontline Cleric comp. This other Cleric will win against other frontlines if played well, as it has mixed damage from Smite and Ignite. Protection from Evil also allows W key gameplay, as movement impairing abilities will be rendered useless. This type of Cleric can run Smite plus Divine Protection, but will tend to be a mixed healer, making the comp have 3 separate carries depending on the situation. Once again, this comp cannot chase kills, as resets are important and mobility isn't the greatest. Also, frontline Cleric is highly reliant on their abilities, being Smite or Divine Protection, and if they are on cooldown, you are much weaker. Finally, avoid fights against kite comps and wait for opportunities. For Bard, it's just Cleric and Wiz, just refer back to the Wizard. I'm not sure if it's probably the
No,
same.
good for him. You gotta learn. You gotta start practicing run with your hands out when you're on top of them. Jump, pull your weps out, especially with superior decks.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, I'm pretty sure it's probably BIS for Arena, considering that you use Dissonance. Like, if you weren't using Dissonance, I'd, like, you know, it's personal preference, but I think because you're using Dissonance, like, pulling out the shit, like, as fast as possible is probably best.
Should I take it off instead of storyteller? You guys don't need the 3 knowledge?
Nah,
Nah, I don't.
Oh.
Warlock is probably the worst class right now for trios in a meta sense. Their role gets much better fulfilled by other classes, though they can be very fun. They have the most variety in class style, with Demon Lock, Box Lock, Life Drain, and Torture Mastery all being viable, but I believe Torture Mastery will thrive the most in trios. Remember, this class is very volatile with devs, buffs, and nerfs as seen in the past. With Torture Mastery Warlock, I recommend Ranger and Rogue. The gameplay for this comp is for the Warlock to act as a support, where it takes damage and allows the Ranger to peek doorways with the Hydra, ensuring safety. It is the best class for gaining invis information, as it can indefinitely place Hydras as you push through modules. The reason why Warlock is used as a pseudo frontline and tanks damage is because it has Phantomize. Phantomize is extremely mistake forgiving. This comp is very strong at kiting, as the rogue pressures bad commits by the enemy, with ranges high damage and Warlock self-healing on the enemies and mobs, thus making it impossible to poke. As the spells use HP, you're almost never full HP. Because of that, you can die to burst damage, so be wary of that. It is also extremely important not to miss your spells, as it is very punishing. The comp also struggles against silencing classes, as Ranger loses backstep, and Warlock can be too reliant on Phantomize. It is also important you have modules cleared, as you will need to kite teams and you are better off fighting in open areas with a possible flank angle for the rogue. Druid is a class I've never gone in depth on, so I talked to a buddy of mine who mains it. He recommends playing with the Wizard and Ranger. This comp uses Druid as a Panther, where you tend to start engagements in an open area and fall back to doorways. The comp has high damage and is strong against third parties, as you fall back exceptionally well using Druid utility to threaten door blocks with Treant. Wizard works well with Druid due to its utility and synergy with Chain Lightning and Treant. The main goal of the Druid, however, is to look for enemies mispositioned to then Panther chicken jump and punish their mistake. The comp excels at kiting, as the Ranger and Druid have mobility mechanics. When walking to new spaces, it is important for the Druid to go first, as it is hard to punish due to their Dreamwalk perk, allowing them to fall back quickly. My friend said the comp tends to struggle against clone comps, where the enemy have multiple of the same class, such as 2 Wizards or 2 Rangers. This is because they have tools to fend off one, but these tools get diminished by multiple of them. As an example, the Druid has some heals to fight against a Ranger's poke, but being poked by 2 Rangers makes the heals from a Panther Druid not enough. The default strategy for this comp is to play patient. You wait and poke with Ranger until they either put themselves into a bad engagement or they fall back, and the Druid can cut one off using Treant at a doorway. A problem you may see in the comp is that they are all scared of rogues, but this is punished. If a rogue kills their wizard, the Ranger will turn, and they try to trade, with the Druid Panther chicken jumping, not allowing the rogue to escape, making the exchange almost always 1-for-1. This, however, puts them in danger of a third party, as this team will struggle in getting a dead team up, as none of the characters can res. Sorcerer is undecided, but I myself will be playing them with a Cleric and Bard in a similar fashion to Wizbard Cleric in the upcoming wipe. Splash Ranger here, doing it twice.
Nice.
You go down, go down.
Splash Warlock as well.
Keep you go with him.
Dissonance. Ranger dead. Nice Warlock though.
He's hit.
I just lightning strike him. Yeah. Nice.
I hope this helps you all level up your Trios gameplay, as I am in need of more competition in OCU. Jokes aside, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know if you want to see more of this type of content in the comments. See you on Wipe Day.